They say university is a place of freedom, but no one warns you about the darkness that comes with it. This is a story of a young girl who walked into school full of innocence, dreams, and prayers, only to find herself within months on the edge of a danger she could never have imagined. The day Purity got her admission letter, the entire house shook with joy. Her mother screamed, her father danced, neighbors trooped in to congratulate her. It felt like God has finally answered a long-awaited prayer. Purity herself couldn't stop smiling. University life was calling her name. Her mother insisted they must visit their pastor to testify and receive prayers before she left for school. That evening, they drove to Pastor Ekanem's house. As Purity shared her admission testimony, the pastor nodded proudly. "My first daughter, Mirabel, is also there, studying law," he announced with confidence. "She's in her third year. Don't worry, Purity is safe. Mirabel will not only accommodate her, she will guide her spiritually and academically." Purity's parents felt relieved. That assurance alone was enough to calm every fear in their hearts. On their way home, Purity's mother kept saying, "You see, God has already prepared a helper for you." Purity believed it. Growing up, Mirabel had been like a role model, always on stage leading worship, always dressed decently, always speaking softly like a true Christian sister. Purity admired her deeply. That night, she packed her bags with excitement, her clothes, her new books, her Bible, even her hymn book. She arranged everything carefully, smiling at the thought of living with someone she respected so much. This would be her first time leaving home. Weeks later, her parents dropped her at the park. Her mother hugged her tightly, refusing to let go. "Call us when you get to Lagos," her father said. He dialed Mirabel's immediately. "She's on her way. Please pick her from the park." Purity entered the bus, trembling slightly. She wasn't scared, just overwhelmed. New life, new city, new freedom. Hours later, as the bus entered Lagos, her heart beat faster. She stepped down from her vehicle, turned around and froze. Standing beside a white Mercedes-Benz was a lady who looked nothing like the Mirabel she knew. Yes, it was Mirabel, but her appearance hit Purity like a slap. Her hair was bone straight and waist length. Her nails were long and painted blood red. Her eyelashes were dramatic. Her top was small, very small. Her skirt was short, extremely short. Her perfume filled the whole park. This wasn't the Mirabel who led intercessory prayers. This wasn't the Mirabel whose voice shook the church during worship. This wasn't the Mirabel every parent used as an example. Purity's mouth opened slightly. She didn't even know when she whispered, "Jesus." Mirabel walked towards her with confidence, smiling like a celebrity. "Purity baby, welcome to Lagos," she said, hugging her tightly. Her voice sounded the same, but something else was different. She collected Purity's box and tossed it effortlessly into the boot of her car. Purity climbed into the Benz quietly, her heart beating fast. The car smelled of expensive perfume mixed with nightclub air. Loud music was playing. Mirabel sang along with the artist, shaking her head and driving like someone who owned Lagos. Purity kept adjusting her skirt, unsure of what to say or how to feel. When they arrived at Mirabel's lodge, Purity blinked twice. It wasn't a normal student lodge. It was a duplex, neat, well painted, with a high fence and security light. Inside was even more shocking. LED lights, designer bags, wigs worth someone's lifetime savings, expensive perfumes, ring lights, heels everywhere, a 65 inches TV, a bar table with drinks. Purity stood silently, confused. She had expected a small room, maybe bunk beds, maybe shared bedroom. Instead, she saw the lifestyle of someone who clearly had money, serious money. Mirabel laughed at her expression. Babe, relax. You will get used to it. This is your home now. Purity dropped her bag slowly. Her mind was racing. This wasn't the university life she imagined. This wasn't the Mirabel she admired in church. Purity was still trying to absorb the shock of Mirabel's new life when the pastor's daughter suddenly slapped her hand. Come sit down, Jare, Mirabel said. Purity sat down, looking lost and confused. See, university is different from your parents' house. Nobody monitors you here. But don't worry, I will put you through. Purity forced a smile. Thank you. But even the way Mirabel talked now was different. Fast, bold, sharp, like someone who had seen too much. You will learn how to move here, she continued. Some lecturers are wicked. Boys are crazy. Girls are desperate. Unilag is a jungle. But with me, you are safe. Safe? The word echoed in Purity's chest, but her spirit didn't agree. Around 7 p.m., there was a loud knock at the gate, followed by excited female voices. Mirabel's face lit up. My girls don't come. Within minutes, four ladies walked into the living room, dressed like they were going for a photo shoot. Short dresses, heavy makeup, heels that clicked on the tiles like they owned the house. Mirabel proudly introduced them. Girls, meet my baby sister Purity. Just got admission. The girls screamed, oh, hugged her like they knew her and began asking questions. Are you single? Are you shy? You fine no, your body go sell. Purity felt hot embarrassed. Mirabel burst into laughter. Una leave my baby sis alone abeg. They opened drinks, they gossiped about boys, they played loud music, they ate shawarma, they took selfie with ring lights. The house suddenly felt too bright, too loud, too exposed. By 11 p.m., Mirabel stood up. Girls, make we move. Purity blinked. Moved? To where? Club now. Friday night. Mirabel said like it was the most normal thing in life. She sprayed more perfume, checked her makeup, grabbed her small bag and posed in the mirror. Purity watched as the girls catwalked out of the duplex and entered the car like queens of the night. Then silence. For the first time, Purity was alone in the big house. She sat on the sofa, hugging a throw pillow. This this was not what she prayed for. This was not the campus life she pictured. This wasn't even close to what her parents imagined Mirabel would teach her. The ticking clock sounded louder than normal. The silence swallowed her. After struggling for an hour, she picked up her phone and called her mother. Hello, mommy. My daughter, you reached safely? Yes, ma, but Purity swallowed hard. University life is very different from home. Her mother sighed softly. My dear, nobody said it would be the same. You just got there. You will adapt. Always remember the daughter of who you are. Stay focused. Stay prayerful. And Mirabel will guide you. You are in a good hands. Mommy, there is something Purity, hold on. Your daddy and I have an online prayer meeting now. I will call you back, okay? Don't worry, my daughter, you are covered. Before Purity could say another word, the line cut. She dropped the phone and stared into space. Covered? If only her mother saw what she saw. Tears gathered in her eyes. She missed home. She missed her parents. She missed the peace of her old life. That night, sleep refused to come. It was about 4 a.m. when Purity finally dozed off on the couch. A loud bang on the gate jolted her awake. She sat up immediately, her heart pounding. Mirabel staggered in, heels in her hand. She was laughing uncontrollably, leaning on a heavy-built man. Both of them were drunk. The man held her waist like she was about to fall. Mirabel giggled and whispered something in his ear. Purity froze. This was the pastor's daughter. This was the girl her mother said would guide her. Mirabel didn't even notice Purity sitting there. She dragged the man into her room, shutting the door behind them. Loud giggled escaped through the wall. Purity sat there, staring at the closed door, her heart breaking slowly. This wasn't what she signed up for. This wasn't who she expected Mirabel to be. And deep down, she wondered, if Mirabel was living like this, what exactly was she going to teach her? The night ended, but Purity's confusion was just beginning. The morning after Mirabel stumbled in with the strange man, Purity woke up to the sound of loud laughter coming from the kitchen. She rubbed her eyes and walked out carefully, expecting to see Mirabel ashamed or apologetic. But no, Mirabel was dancing barefoot, drinking cold shoulder straight from the bottle, while the same man, shirtless, fried egg like he owned the house. Purity baby, wake up, weekend just starts, Mirabel shouted. Purity forced a smile, but in her heart, she felt a sharp sting of confusion. But confusion had no time to breathe because that weekend was hotter than the night before. Mirabel's friend returned in the afternoon, more dressed up, more seductive. By evening, the music blasted so hard the walls vibrated. Cars kept entering the compound. Men walked in carrying expensive drinks, and Mirabel floated around like the queen of the night. Purity sat in a corner, hugging her nails, trying to disappear, but deep down, she felt like she was drowning in a life she didn't understand. The house became a small nightclub, lights dimmed, perfume everywhere, girls dancing on chairs, boys spraying money, the smell of shisha filling the air. By 3 a.m., the house was a mess, empty bottles, spilled drinks, people sleeping anywhere their bodies fell. Mirabel, she was in her room with another man. Purity cried silently on her bed that night. By Sunday morning, Purity dressed up to go to church. It was her habit, her upbringing, her peace. She came out wearing a long gown, Bible in hand. Mirabel burst into laughter. Where you dey go? Church, Purity replied gently. Mirabel shook her head. My dear, here we no dey do church. Abeg, calm down. Purity frowned. But we are supposed to go and thank God for the week. Thank him for where? Mirabel asked. Church sermons are copy and paste. Same messages we heard growing up. Just different preachers forming revelation. Abeg, rest. Purity stood still, shocked. Relax, babe, she added casually. This campus life is your real freedom. Nobody will flog you for missing service. Purity didn't know if she should argue or obey. She stood there with her Bible in her hand, and nobody in that house cared. She went back to the room slowly, and for the first time in her life, she didn't go to church on Sunday. She cried again that night. The first few months in school felt like a nightmare Purity couldn't wake up from. Every night, she watched Mirabel transform the duplex into a parade ground for wildlife, music blasting, half-dressed girls laughing, men stepping in with bottles of alcohol like they were entering a nightclub. She watched Mirabel jump from one man's lap to another, watched her kiss strangers like it was nothing, watched her come home at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., sometimes 6 a.m., smelling of alcohol and sweat. It was traumatizing, overwhelming and terrifying. Nothing in Purity's 16 quiet years had prepared her for this. Daytime didn't offer peace either. Purity noticed Mirabel rarely attended lectures. Most times she woke up at noon with a hangover, dragging her feet across the room like she didn't care if the world was burning. She never read, never opened a book, never studied. Yet, each time results came out, Mirabel passed. It didn't make sense until Purity overheard one of Mirabel's friends saying, "Babe, you don't pay that lecturer. If not, you know say him go stress you." Mirabel had laughed casually. "Pay? I don already give am wetin he want. I no get wahala dis semester." Purity's heart sank. So this was how she survived school. This was why she passed. Certain lecturers, sleeping with some, manipulating others. Purity felt her entire foundation shaking. Little by little, silently, like a slow poison dripping into her soul, Purity began to change, not because she wanted to, but because surviving in Mirabel's world requires transformation. She started joining their hangouts just to observe. Then she started dressing differently just to fit in. Then she went to club just to follow them. Then she sat with older men just to avoid looking old. Before she knew it, she wasn't observing anymore. She was participating. Mirabel shaped her, a naive 16 years old, into a new version of herself. The Purity that once wore long skirts now wore bodycon dresses. The Purity that once prayed before sleeping now prayed only when she needed something. The Purity that once ran away from boys now sat boldly in front of older men who bought her drinks and praised her beauty. She didn't even realize the moment she crossed the line. She just woke up one day and saw a different girl in the mirror. A girl with perfect makeup, seductive clothes, designer wigs, and a confidence she never knew she had. By the end of her first year in school, Purity had become one of the hottest girls in her department. Boys whispered about her. Girls envied her curves and glow. Men chased her like bees chasing honey. She had the work, she had the clothes, she had the body, she had the attention. Everyone wanted her. Everyone noticed her. Everyone talked about her. Purity, once a quiet, naive girl, was now known as Mirabel's mini queen. Her transformation became complete on her 18th birthday. Her sugar daddy, one of the big men Mirabel introduced her to, surprised her with a car, a sparkling Toyota Corolla, clean, new, expensive. Purity screamed when she saw it. Her friends screamed louder. Mirabel danced around the compound like she had won a lottery. Everyone congratulated her. Everyone admired her. Nobody remembered she was only 18. Purity stood beside her new car, smiling for pictures, dripping beauty and confidence. But inside her, deep inside the parts of her she had ignored for months, a small voice whispered, "Is this really who you wanted to become?" She didn't answer. She couldn't. The old Purity had no voice in this new world, and slowly it was disappearing forever. Purity gradually stopped visiting home. Home reminded her of who she used to be. Each time her mother asked when she was coming, Purity responded with the same rehearsed lie. "Mommy, I am busy with class projects. I will come home later." But in reality, she was drowning, slowly, silently, in the flashy lifestyle Mirabel had dragged her into. She didn't even know how far she had gone until the girl who prayed before leaving the house now woke up beside strangers and called it fun. One night, Purity's mother had a strange dream. She saw her daughter fighting to break free from a dark force. Ants, shadows, chains dragged her into a pit. Purity was screaming, but her voice sounded distant, fading like smoke. Her mother woke up shaking, heart heavy like a stone. She immediately woke her husband, and together they prayed till dawn, calling Purity's name with tears streaming down their face. The next morning, she called Purity, voice trembling with fear, but Purity only laughed slowly. "Mommy, relax. I am fine. Nothing is happening to me." But she wasn't fine. She was too lost to even notice danger. She didn't know she was speaking to a mother who was standing at the edge of spiritual warfare. That weekend, Mirabel's sugar daddy, a powerful politician, invited her to an all-white party in Abuja. "Bring your girls," he said confidently, like someone who owned the world. Mirabel's excitement could scatter the roof. She rushed to Purity's room. "Babe, pack your things. Big men are calling us. Abuja, here we come." They invited another girl, Kelly. Soon, the three girls were on a flight, laughing, posing for snaps, imagining the fun and how much money they would make that night. When they arrived at the venue, their eyes widened. It was another world. Powerful politicians, high-ranking men, faces they only saw on TV. Money flowed like water. Drinks, music, whispers, secrets, promises. Each girl was assigned to a man. Before the night ended, huge amounts of money entered their accounts. To them, it was the best night ever. They had no idea they were celebrating their own funeral. That same night in Port Harcourt, Purity's mother sat alone in her room. Her husband had traveled earlier that morning, so the house felt unusually quiet. She opened her Bible to read and pray, but somewhere between Psalms and Proverbs, sleep overtook her. Immediately she fell into a trance. She saw Purity again, but this time clearer. Four occult men surrounded her, chanting incantations. Purity was unconscious on the ground, and a sharp knife was lifted over her. "Jesus!" her mother screamed inside the trance. She jumped up from her bed, sweating. She grabbed her phone and dialed Purity's number. No answer. She called again. Still no answer. Why Purity ignored the calls because she was still enjoying the party. Her mother felt on her knees and prayed like she had never prayed before, with a voice she didn't know she had. "Oh God, wherever my daughter is, deliver her, save her, rescue her. Don't let evil take her from me." Her tears soaking the floor as she cried and prayed into the night. Meanwhile in Abuja, inside the hotel, Purity, Mirabel and Kelly were drugged in their rooms. Their bodies went limp, their senses shut down. Men dressed in black carried them through the back exit into a waiting van parked outside. After a long drive into the outskirts, they arrived at a fenced compound with no signboard, a slaughterhouse disguised as a mansion. The first girl, Kelly, was dragged out. Her scream never left her throat. Her life ended in minutes. Her organs were harvested like goods. Mirabel's turn came. They didn't kill her. They damaged her mind. Her sanity snapped like a weak string. Her eyes went blank. Her soul left before her body did. Then it was Purity's turn. She was unconscious, but suddenly she found herself standing inside a strange darkness, half dream, half trance. Two hefty men were dragging her towards an altar stained with blood. She screamed for help, but her voice echoed like she was underwater. Then suddenly, her mother appeared in the trance, standing like a pillar of fire. "Purity, turn back. Come back to me. Mommy, they are too strong. They are dragging me." Purity cried. "Shout Jesus," her mother commanded. Purity tried, but her voice cracked. "Shout Jesus," her mother screamed again. With the last strength in her spirit, Purity shouted, "Jesus." Instantly, she regained consciousness. At that exact moment, a powerful force struck the occult leader. His hands froze mid-air. The knife dropped. Confusion filled the entire shrine. Back in Port Harcourt, Purity's mother was still praying, tears streaming down her face, unaware that her prayers were shaking a ritual ground in Abuja. Her prayers built a shield around Purity, a shield no demon could break. The men, terrified, dumped Purity's unconscious body into the van and drove her far away. They threw her body by a lonely roadside and fled. When Purity opened her eyes, she was lying on the ground beside a busy road. People gathered around, staring in confusion. A kind man pushed through the crowd. "Madam, are you okay? What happened to you?" She couldn't speak. He lifted her gently into his car and drove her to the hospital. Purity couldn't remember anything. The last thing she recalled was dancing with Mirabel and Kelly at the party and seeing her mother's face telling her to shout the name Jesus. She borrowed the man's phone. Her hands trembled as she dialed her mother's number. Purity's parents arrived Abuja the next day, breathless, confused and terrified. Their first shock came the moment they stepped into the hospital ward. Their daughter, who was supposed to be in Lagos, was lying on a hospital bed in Abuja. Her mother burst into tears immediately. Her father froze at the door, unable to move. Purity looked up at them, shame burning in her eyes. She broke down, crying as she narrated everything. The lifestyle Mirabel introduced her to, the older men, the party, the flight to Abuja, and the nightmare that almost took her life. Her mother gasped and covered her mouth. Her father sat down slowly, as if the strength in his leg had gone. Then Purity said softly, "It was the name Jesus that saved me." Her mommy's voice. "I heard you calling me." Her mother almost fainted. She remembered the exact hour she was praying, crying, shouting, begging God to save her daughter. She now knew that those prayers had stood between Purity and death. Immediately, Purity's father called Mirabel's parents. What he heard shocked him. Mirabel's mother insisted, "My daughter is reserved, respected and in school. She can't be involved in such things." But when the call ended and they dialed Mirabel's number, it was switched off. Panic entered their heart like cold water. They booked the next flight to Lagos. When they reached the apartment they rented for Mirabel when she gained admission, the landlord and neighbors shook their head. She moved out after her first year to a bigger place. She didn't tell us where. Confusion deepened. They rushed to her department. Her classmates looked at them like they were strangers from another world. "Mirabel, we haven't seen her in class since 200 level. We are in our final year now." Mirabel had vanished long ago and her parents had no idea. Meanwhile, Purity and her parents returned to Port Harcourt. Her healing journey began. She started therapy, counseling and rehabilitation. The nightmares, the guilt, the fear. It was not easy to let go, but she fought through it. Shockingly, Mirabel's parents turned against Purity. They threatened to arrest her, claiming she influenced their daughter, corrupting her and leading her into danger. Purity cried bitterly. Her parents defended her, but Mirabel's parents were blinded by grief. Weeks later, Kelly's decomposing body was found in a forest on Abuja outskirts, her vital organs missing. Mirabel's parents, now fully terrified, flew to Abuja to report their daughter missing, but Mirabel was nowhere to be found. Purity continued therapy. Slowly, she returned to herself, the innocent girl she once was. After months of healing, her parents enrolled her into a private university. This time, she was different, focused, determined, awake. She never forgot the girl she used to be, the one who lost herself trying to fit in. She began speaking to other young girls, warning them, guiding them, helping them avoid the mistake that nearly destroyed her life. Years passed. Purity graduated with excellent results. She secured a good stable job and her life finally found peace again. Then one evening, something changed everything. Purity was scrolling through Facebook when she saw a disturbing post. A mad woman roaming the streets of Owerri. If you know her, please contact the authority. Please share the post until we find her family. The video made her drop her phone. It was Mirabel, dirty, mad, lost, barefoot. a shadow of the once beautiful girl she used to be. Purity's hand shook as she called her parents. They in turn contacted Mirabel's parents immediately. Tears filled their voice as they drove down to Owerri the next morning. When they saw Mirabel wandering aimlessly, talking to herself, her hair scattered, clothes torn, sanity gone, they screamed and collapsed in grief. They took her back to Port Harcourt. Doctors confirmed that her mind had been destroyed, likely the night of the attempted ritual. Mirabel had been missing for 6 whole years. 6 years of wandering, 6 years of madness, 6 years of being lost. Purity stood at the hospital door, watching Mirabel through the glass. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She whispered, "We were just girls. We didn't know we were walking into hell." She closed her eyes and thanked God again for his mercy, for his grace, and for second chance. Months passed. Mirabel remained under psychiatric care. She had moments of clarity, then slipped back into confusion. Her parents never recovered from the heartbreak, but Purity used her pain as fuel. She became a voice for young girls, a warning, a guide, a counselor, a woman who was saved by grace, snatched out of darkness by prayer and mercy. She traveled to schools, churches, youth gatherings, sharing her story boldly, how she lost herself, how she almost died, how God saved her, and how every small decision can lead you to life or death. Her voice changed many lives. Her testimony pulled girls away from destruction. She built an NGO for girls. She sponsored students. She visited rehab centers. Her life became a beacon of light. Purity never forgot Mirabel. She visited her often, prayed for her, supported her treatment. Sometimes Mirabel recognized her and cried. Sometimes she laughed and chased butterflies that weren't there. But Purity understood one thing clearly. Grace saved her. Choices destroyed Mirabel. And destiny can be rewritten if you return before it's too late. Lessons from the story. This story reminds us that life does not always shout before it destroys. Sometimes all it takes is one wrong decision, one wrong friend, one wrong moment, and a person begins a journey they never planned. Purity was not a bad girl. She was simply shaped by the wrong ends. Someone she trusted, admired and followed. They called it freedom, enjoyment and big girl's life. But behind the glitter was a darkness waiting to swallow her. To every young person listening, not every friend is a blessing. Not every phone is harmless. Not every opportunity is favor. Some doors open straight into darkness, and by the time you realize it, the way back is already burning behind you. Parents must also learn from this. Your prayers are not wasted. Your tears are not ignored. Your spiritual covering may be the only shield standing between your child and destruction. When you pray for your children, you fight battles they may never know existed. And to everyone hearing this, let this truth sink deeply into your heart. The devil does not always appear with horns. Sometimes he appears as a friend, a lifestyle, a party, a gift, or a new adventure. So apply this story to your life today. Watch your association. One wrong friend can rewrite your entire destiny, guide your spirit. Anything that weakens your conscience is an enemy to your future. Listen to warnings, dreams, instincts, and inner discomfort are often divine alarms. Do not ignore red flags. What feels exciting today may be the same thing that destroys you tomorrow. Stay rooted in God. The same prayer that saved Purity can save any destiny that is drifting. Choose purpose over pleasure. Pleasure fades, but the consequences remain. Never underestimate the power of a praying parent. Heaven moves when mothers cry and fathers intercede. Thank you so much for watching this story to the end. I truly appreciate your time and support. Stories like this are shared so we can learn, grow, and stay aware of the choices we make in life. If this story touched you and taught you something new, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our new stories. Your likes, comments, and share really help this channel grow, and they encourage us to keep bringing more inspiring and eye-opening stories your way. Thank you once again. Stay safe, stay wise. See you in the next story. I love you all. God bless you.